Thank you everyone for joining. I think there are quite a few people that joined, which is amazing. And I want to welcome Ben Harmon from Omnisend together with me today. We will talk quite about quite an interesting thing about how Ben, who was a literally BDR manager, now manages a fleet of AI agents that are provided by Outcraft, and we'll try to do a lot of actionable things there. So, Ben, if you want to give a short little intro to yourself, you're welcome to do that, and then we will dive into the next things into the topic.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here, Will. It's been a pleasure working with Outcraft. I'm excited to kind of share that experience a little bit. I don't want to spend too much time on myself. I'd rather dive into what people are actually here to talk about. But yeah, Ben Harmon worked for Omnisend for coming up on 3 years now. I was a BDR manager this time last year, like Will already shared, and now I am managing AI agents and kind of. Doing those same workflows with Outcraft being a huge part of that. So
Amazing. So, what can you expect today? So, we will talk about maybe what Ben was doing, and in general, what BDRs were doing up until now, and what is possible to automate, with AI sales agents today. And we will try to maybe forecast what will be possible to do in the future as well. Because things are evolving quite quickly. We will talk about what's working already today and what is still maybe not working, and maybe we will talk a little bit of when that can actually work. um, then we will have a little discussion about how managing people is different, harder and easier at the same time than orchestrating agents, and then we will leave time for Q&A. I think it's really important that you would ask questions in advance. You can actually write in the chat in advance, and it's something that I will take a look from time to time, and maybe if the question is relevant to what we were talking that moment, I will try to answer, or Ben will try to answer that straight away. But we will definitely leave like 5 to 10 minutes for the Q&A. So. Ben, let's start a little bit with this discussion. So I was an SDR back in the day, which was like 10 years ago already, or something like that, like 9 years ago. You were a BDR, SDR, right? For what, 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. Then you were BDR manager. How did you see the evolution, and where do you see the biggest issues there? Like, what are the biggest bottlenecks there? When for human beings doing that. So yeah, what do you think, and what's your take on the history and evolution of the SDR BDR position?
yeah, I think you would agree, and anyone who's had experience as a SDR or BDR. I think the biggest issue is just the capacity, and whether it's the capacity of whether it's time zones or just the workload or managing burnout or whatever the case is. That was the biggest issue is when you're dialing and emailing and people are opening and not clicking or responding, and you're just, if you're lucky, you get a voicemail if the connection, if the number is even correct. So when it's that kind of situation all day every day, it's really easy to just burn out and not have the capacity to really do much else. And it takes up so much time. So I think that was is the biggest issue with just the traditional BDR route, and also the timing, whether it's a holiday that's being celebrated or a weekend or out of your time zone. When someone submits a form that they want more information, and it just happens to be 3 o'clock in the morning your time and you're asleep and you don't get to them till hours later and a competitor that's in their time zone already reached out, like that's an issue. And that's just a human constraint that you really can't solve with a human other than just doubling or tripling the size of your team to cover every gap.
Yeah, I would totally agree here. I would like as a manager of like a few sales teams, I can add to that one more thing, which was super annoying to me. I mean, it was fulfilling and annoying at the same time, but basically, best SDRs, they would want to become AEs, right? Or they would just get headhunted or whatever, right? And that part is was like really annoying that that this guy was doing so good and for 6 months or 8 months, but is the most annoying job in sales, more or less, right? And then they move on to something that is less annoying or it's actually satisfying, and then you need to find another one, another young hungry person, and that the hiring part was really hard. And that's actually the main root of how Outcraft was created, honestly, right? Like we had like I believe 4 people in the team, and it kept happening. Like either something didn't work out or something like that, and then I realized that AI can already do that. So yeah, I would fully agree on that. Let's talk more actionable things. So what now we can do with AI. So let's put all the pros of the AI, and then let's discuss something that's as a second part of the question. Okay, and something that is at this moment still not fully possible with AI. Like and where is the line and how fast it gets better. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, from your experience, when you were literally yourself in Omnisend doing manual tasks, or your team was doing that, moving to the AI. So let's start from the pros. So like what was immediately just much better, and what could you replace in a very simple way.
I would say speed. That was the quickest thing that improved. Right now, with Outcraft, we're able to engage a lead within 60 seconds of when we get them. So the speed is just unmatched. Like that's something that it's just not possible to do humanly. And it doesn't matter if Outcraft is already on the phone with a lead. Another one comes in and they just call that lead too. It's not like one call at a time like it is with a human. So speed and volume. I think those are the biggest things where it just like the sheer volume of outreach and the speed at which it can be outreached, and you're not like I kind of touched on it before. AI is not going to burn out, and it doesn't matter if it gets rejected 5 times in a row or hits 3 voicemails in a row. It's not going to get discouraged. It's just going to call again, and it's going to perform at the same level and the same standard it's been performing at. So
Got it. Okay, so Ben, introduce very, very shortly what Omnisend is for people that doesn't know. We have I think 30 people listening right now, so would be I think for some would be great to know a little bit, 1, 2 sentences about Omnisend, and then introduce to the use cases that you as a AI automation manager introduced to Omnisend sales funnel.
okay, yeah. So Omnisend is email and SMS marketing. It's a multi-channel marketer for primarily e-commerce brands. And I'm sorry, what was the second question?
And the second was what use cases you cover right now with AI automation
Oh,
when
with
you
AI
turn from
automation
the
specifically.
yeah with AI automation when you turn basically from being BDR manager to AI automations manager.
Hmm. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the
So
primary channel, the first channel that carried over was our warmest channel. It's kind of our product qualified leads. So brands that are already in the product that are signed up for Omnisend and they're on the free plan, but they're bottlenecked by the free plan significantly and would benefit by subscribing to one of our paid plans. Those are leads that we were reaching out to the most as BDRs, and it was a great warm lead. But again, just speed and capacity and time zone. And so that was the primary channel that we moved over first into Outcraft. And since then, we've added a bunch more. I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but I mean, it's brands that have been with us for a while and are still on the paid plan. And then, obviously, we don't really do any cold outreach, like opt-in laws and stuff like that all apply. So yeah, those are the primary channels, and it's all different iterations of that channel. Is really we're just kind of covering all the gaps.
Yeah. Um, and So, so okay, let's talk a little bit about those PQLs, right? So, just for everybody here to understand, so Omniscient runs in a sort of PLG motion with sales there as well, supporting the PLG motion. PLG meaning product led growth, and they have a freemium option. You can actually be on the free plan sort of forever if you want to, as long as you don't go over the limits of sending emails or SMS, right? Or I don't remember if SMS on the free plan even, but um, then the goal is as soon as possible to get in touch with those product qualified leads that can for sure be paid clients and can pay a lot. So that's where Omniscient introduced Outcraft first, and you know it the very similar situation was with my previous company, which is Warmy. So that was the first before Outcraft was Outcraft. We implemented this to our flow, let's say, in a very similar way. So anybody who created an account, we would then put an AI agent to call, email, text those users and try to book a meeting. Ben, now when you see all of these channels, right? Like it's calling, it's emailing, texting, WhatsApp, by the way, is available now as well. Um, which one do you think is still the most important, and which one is the most overlooked by the industry? Like when you're talking to your industry peers, like what you feel that people are not doing enough. Let's say, what do you think?
Um, I would say on the second question, taking that one first, the what I think people are overlooking, and I say this because it's one of the biggest um, dividers that we see in the sales team, where people are like, "That's incredible that you do that. Such and such competitor doesn't," and that is, I think, custom pricing, being able to be more flexible there, and um, just being able to meet a customer where they're at and find an option that works for everybody is really important. And being able to capture that correctly and quickly when the lead needs it. So having the call to action on um, the plan upgrade page where they're like, "Ah, none of these plans work for me. Oh wait, custom pricing is an option. Let me see what that looks like." And it kind of covers the gap because you can't plan for everything. You can't implement a plan that just covers every need of every customer. So having that option, and then as soon as that form is submitted, within 60 seconds, they're getting a call from Outcraft to schedule a meeting, and Outcraft's getting a little more details from them, a little more information from them, and then they're getting an option to schedule a meeting right on the calendar with one of our account executives to go over that custom pricing. So huge asset there.
Yeah, yeah. I think, by the way, custom pricing is it's a really interesting topic. And what is really nice with AI now is that um, you can actually qualify the lead. You can collect the information. You can see what questions were answered. It automatically syncs back to the CRM, and then AE can already prepare in advance because you called, and it's not a just direct, booking without any context. Now AE can actually look at the context and prepare, maybe get some kind of an approval to go somewhere a bit more flexible with the price if they know that it comes from this and that competitor. It saves time as well on the discovery. I think so. So yeah, I would totally agree. Um, Now, so I see that Delia is asking a question. I think we can answer that question. It's a pretty good question. So with AI, cold calling is pretty much illegal. So doing AI cold calling, like fully, uh, cold traditional cold calling is illegal. What is legal is basically when the lead does any action, any interaction with the customer. I mean, with you in this case, right? And if they attended this webinar, technically, right? If if they filled out the form, if they create an account, if you collected their business card in the conference, right? This is already we would call that an inbound lead or a warm lead, and that's when the AI is okay to call. Emailing is a bit different thing. With emailing, it's more legal, and there are companies that are doing AI SDR that can cold email, but specifically with calling, there are quite strict regulations. And one more question, or the second part of the question: how many languages are supported? So overall, with AI in the world, besides Outcraft, there are like almost every language is supported. The ones that we support are all the largest languages in the world, right? So we're focusing to perfect, of course, English, and we have British English, American English, Australian English, and so on, And then we do have Spanish, we do have French, we do have German, and and actually we do have Portuguese with a Brazilian I think dialect and Portuguese dialect. So we have quite a bit of languages. And which CRM solutions natively we connect to. So this is something that you can look on the website outcraft.ai/integrations. You will see we have plenty. But I want to get back a little bit into like practical things. So how hard for you was to set things up, right? Like um, how time consuming, how much of a, learning curve for you was to move from like what was being done traditionally to what it is now, right? And what would you suggest for anybody that starts to do that now? To just get started, what tips would you give or mistakes to avoid that you did in this transition?
Yeah, great question. So I think for me, the most difficult part of the transition was I'm not someone who likes to micromanage, and I prefer to not micromanage people. And with an AI agent, you have to micromanage it. Like, when I was training a competent human BDR, I would hand them the winning processes that I found, and I would basically say, like, I trust you. Go take like these tips and tricks that work and are proven, and go improve on them further and make it your own, and just be even better than I could be. And that was kind of the system that we had on the team. And now I don't want an AI agent to go take this set of wins and go improve and do it, and iterate on them and create and kind of, because that's when you start getting into some crazy stuff. So I think that was the hardest switch for me to flip, is like you kind of do have to micromanage a little more, in the sense of just, there has to be guardrails set up. You have to train and test extensively before you roll something out to just automate to 500 people. So it's there's a lot more back end work. So it's I would say the foundational work is more, and switching over initially was hard. But once the system is in place and the infrastructure is there, that's when you start reaping the benefits long term, and it starts scaling way better. It's like the floor is harder, but the ceiling is so much higher in certain ways
Yeah, yeah.
than the human constraints. So, once you learn the system, once you make the adjustment, and you finally are able to kind of like scale and build off of that foundation, then then you start seeing like the aha moment is like, oh wow, this is what this can do. I had no idea. This is incredible. So
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I think probably I was the one who helped to onboard you at the beginning because at that time we were like 4 people company. Now
yeah.
we're like almost 20 people company. So I looked at your account in one of our latest meetings, and there were like 25 different campaigns already created, which is a completely different thing that we saw before. So yeah, this is impressive how you adopted the AI. I can tell to everybody here overall that this is true. Like uh it and I see the question here as well is like about time to value, which is a good question, I think. So, um, I would say that among Outcraft's clients, all right, the most successful clients are those that have at least partially dedicated person for Outcraft. So when someone is actually in it, building campaigns, testing, listening to the conversations that AI, agents are doing with their clients, analyzing, providing feedback to us, improving together, those clients have the best results overall. When talking about the results, you know, are you able to share anything, any numbers, in terms of like, I don't know, like amount of calls that you do per month with Outcraft, more or less, or for example, how much more output now you can do with AI versus when you had like 4 people doing that, or something like that.
Yeah, so I have some numbers pulled up in front of me. I don't have, all of our stats, including last year with the human BDR team right in front of me right now. But, I think we're at somewhere over 3,000 calls made with Outcraft. Um, and I think honestly, I think the thing that surprised me the most is the connection rate. Um, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Consistently. There it is. It's consistently like 15 to 20% connection rate over the phone, which is insane. The human BDR team, we were on the best months, we were at like an 8% connection rate. And a lot of that has to do with the AI agent being able to call when it's the best time to call for the time zone of the person they're calling. And again, that was just another constraint that we had on the human team is, um, you've got one person covering 6 time zones and they're trying to prioritize and call. Um, but that's been a huge advantage is just, it doesn't matter where the person is in the world. They can be called when it's the right time for them to receive the call with Outcraft.
Yeah. And on top of that, I can tell a little bit, what we're working on. So what we did at the beginning versus what we do now, like the pickup rate is much better for various reasons. So Outcraft now automatically, if it's in the US, we automatically call from the same state's number, which improved the pickup rate by about 40-50% for most of our clients. And then we look at a lot of things on the telephony side, which is an old industry. Telephony is an old industry. We had to learn quite a bit throughout the first year of Outcraft. And now that we learned some, tricks and things there that are happening, now the connection rate is just getting better and better over time. So yeah, it's not only the timing, which is extremely important, I agree, but it's also just the fact that we have the telephony built in into Outcraft, and our clients don't really need to do anything about that, besides just selecting that they want US phone number, or like EU phone number or something like that. Then we do the rest for them. And yeah, and basically, that part was not easy. That part is actually hard, and to do that yourself would be also quite hard. That's why I think you with your like BDR team had also a lower result in terms of like a pickup rate.
I
Yeah.
actually have some really impressive numbers that'll better. I went and looked them up because I wanted to answer that question better. Um, so the connection rate right now per contact is 40.8% on average. The connection
Okay.
rate per dial, so there's multiple dials per contact to actually connect with them, is still at a 17.4%. And this is across the whole year of 2026. And the conversation rate, meaning a conversation that's lasted more than 90 seconds, we're sitting at 37.5% of those completed connected calls have lasted more than 90 seconds. And 26% of those have lasted more than 3 minutes. There's regularly conversations that I'm analyzing and going through that are 4, 5, 6 minute um, conversations, which is actually pretty impressive. So yeah, those are some really cool stats that I wanted to share.
Yeah, that one which is like per lead, the connection per lead, we call it engagement. So on average, across all of our clients, including our B2C clients, varies between like 35 and 40%. So you're right above the average with that. So that means that you have good lead quality as well, and this is pretty much where we're at with this number. So obviously, it's very important that you can actually call, and not forget to follow up. Never, because we see that if somebody didn't pick up the first time, then you wrote an email, then maybe you send a text message, then maybe they already know who's going to be to call. Then you don't forget to call, and then also you don't forget the context. So if somebody calls you back, which is also an option. A lot of people call back after you leave a voicemail. Uh, our AI will remember, the AI agent will always remember everything. So that's an important part. Um, okay, we're at the time where we need to put some love to our audience. So there are two questions already. I would really encourage for our audience to start asking some more questions. It's definitely time for a Q&A already. Me and Ben probably would be able to talk for an hour here about all of these interesting things, but let's see what you guys would like to ask, and hopefully we can answer. Hopefully we can answer. So first question was the average time to value. So that's probably about the Outcraft product. So I will answer. So uh, the first, it's a hard question, honestly. Like some clients can set it up so fast that it's like 2 days and it's live. And some clients are testing longer, and they see the value maybe in a week or 2 weeks or in 3 weeks. Ben, how was it with you guys? I don't even remember, but I don't think that was a very long setup that you did, right? Like it was.
No, it wasn't. And I'm trying to more reference what the setup is like today, because like you alluded to earlier, when we came on, we were pretty early on in the process, and there was a lot of kind of working together with your team, which y'all have been just fantastic, and just refining a lot of the stuff. But I mean, it now after doing it for quite a few months, I can have a complete campaign, everything needed, set up, connected to my CRM, everything synced in 15 minutes. So, um, yeah, I mean but all of the like I already have the agent created. I already have the company created. I already, all of that initial one-time stuff is already there. So
15
it's
minutes,
really
man. I
yeah.
can't do that for ourselves in 15 minutes.
Well, I
No, for real.
a lot.
I didn't listen. It's just that I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the fun fact is that Outcraft is using Outcraft for ourselves for our own sales process. So if you create a free account, most likely we will call you and email you, and there is an option to create a free account, and then you can actually test Outcraft. With our own AI agent on the website, just simply, go there, put your phone number, and we will call you, So it actually, it's an option. Now, there's another question: how easy or hard is it to set it up so it's a very similar question. So yeah, I mean, for a first timer, as I said, it would be more like you know, from 1 day to like 7 days, I would say. Uh, Depending how much time do you spend on it. Uh, okay, then the next question, maybe you can answer, Ben. What do you think sales leaders often misunderstand about AI agents?
Yeah, yeah. And I can speak to this one really well because I misunderstood them until I started working with them, and then my perception has really changed a lot. So, first of all, I think it's really important, and this is one thing I really appreciate with Omnisend and the posture that it has taken as a company and just AI initiatives is AI isn't replacing the person, it's replacing the mundane, repetitive tasks that person has to do. Then it allows their cognitive space and their skill set that's very important and necessary to the team to be freed up from those mundane repetitive tasks and actually be applied where it's needed. So I think reframing the role that AI agents serve, and there's one question that I ask myself before any AI project, and then it's continually asked throughout the project is, does this add value? Because a lot of it's really easy to get caught up in the hype and just build AI for the sake of using AI, and then you can post about it on LinkedIn and be like, oh, this is totally driven by AI now. But sometimes you'll devote days, weeks, months to an AI project, and then at the end of it, you're like, this actually isn't even adding value because the team did it better. So it's not always going to add value. So just being very selective with, uh, setting your AI agents up for success by putting them in positions to succeed, just like you do with the human components on your team, I think is really important.
Yeah. Um, like this is a best example of what you just told. Um, is that none of your BDRs were fired because you installed Outcraft, right? They just went on to do more valuable things, right?
Yeah, our
Like
star BDR, she's an AE now. So
exactly. So
yeah, she was able
you
to
just
elevate her career.
yeah, that's very simple. You can just have more leads because AI is more effective, and then you can turn your best BDRs into junior AEs or AEs,
Yeah.
and they're just doing the more value added work. There is a question: can we hear some real call recordings? I have one from Omnisend, like the real one, which is from when is it? It's from like I don't know. It's from March. Okay, so it's really old, but it's not bad. I think we can show it. But I just have this like quickly here, so I can show that one, and we can listen quickly, 2 minutes maybe. The beginning of it, or I will just try to move through it.
Hey, this is Brandon. Hello, yes, speaking.
Hi, Brandon. This is Mary from Omnisend. I'm just reaching out to check in after your recent sign up. Is everything going smoothly with your setup so far?
Yeah, actually, I really like your website. It's just I was on vacation, or I'm on vacation actually right now, so I wasn't able to send the actual email or my first one.
That's great to hear you like the website. Since you're still on vacation, have you already migrated any data or set up your sender domain? Or is there anything left to double check from your previous platform before you send your first campaign?
No, I don't think we were using a dedicated platform prior. I think we were trying out a bunch of different ones, but I think it was the paying like subscriptions that we were more focused on. I think Omnisend with the 500, I think 500 free emails, that was something that we were looking forward to trying out initially before we were to move forward with buying the subscription.
Makes sense. With Omnisend's free plan, you get up to 500 emails per month. So it's a great way to try things out before upgrading. Even if you're just
Hmm.
testing, would you like a specialist to help review your setup and walk you through best practices? It's a short one on one call, no pressure to upgrade, just to make sure you're getting the most out of your trial. Would that be useful?
Uh, I think I'm good with just doing it on my own right now. I think that might be better if we were to say upgrade and then send multiple emails at once. I think right now just sending.
Okay, we don't have a lot of time, so but I think this is a good example of how AI, has a good communication. By the way, at the end of this call, it was a booked call, so that's the fun part of that. Like actually, AI was being able to turn this around. Um, yeah, so I think we have one more question. We can answer that very quickly. Were there any campaign types where AI performed better than you expected? Man, anything where you were like a bit skeptical, you tried and it worked just better than you thought.
So actually, really recent example, and it's actually been working okay. Is I kind of had to go a roundabout way and set up meeting reminders for meetings that were booked, and I did it through the API connection, um, Outcraft's API connection, and so I basically set up my own agent that triggers off of a meeting booked, and then it looks at all the details on the meeting, including when it's scheduled for, and then it schedules itself to call through Outcraft's API to confirm that they're going to still show on the meeting, and it actually works, and they have the context and everything. So merge tags are probably the biggest unlock that Outcraft implemented, and you can go a little bit more into that if you want to. For those of you that for the audience that isn't familiar with merge tags, but it basically syncs into your CRM, and I can put anything into my CRM, and it syncs over via a merge tag for Outcraft to reference, the Outcraft agent to reference in the call, in the email, whatever. I have everything from the first name in the lead to what they're using in our platform. So, for instance, in that call recording, this is before I had this set up. Outcraft was like, "How's your setup going so far? Have you been able to do such and such?" And now Outcraft can reference exactly what in our product they're using, and they'll be like, "I see you don't have abandoned cart set up yet," and then they'll state the ROI from our data of the what you get from abandoned cart automations, and use that as the hook for the AE call. So yeah, merge tags have been huge.
Amazing. Okay, I think that with this we can wrap up. I have the only question to you. Uh, what do you forecast next for AI? Like what will be the next big thing specifically in sales, where AI will be able to replace something that is repetitive, or what's next? What in your opinion?
Um, in my opinion, I think it's important to draw a line, first of all. I think that in the age of AI, maintaining the relationship component and letting human beings own that is even more important. And I think as AI gets even more expansive as far as its capabilities, I think that companies that retain that relationship component as human beings are actually going to set themselves apart in a good way. So I think that that's really important. But what I have learned, the strategy that I implemented first was just automate the routine, right? The thing that I'm doing the same way over and over again, just automate that and prioritize that first. And what I've learned is the more routines that I automate, there's always just another routine to automate. I have automated my routines to automate routines in some cases at this point, which is hilarious to think about, right? Because, like, for instance, I have an agent that analyzes every call and email that Outcraft makes and SMS. Everything they do, it analyzes it all the time. And it gives me all the data back, and I can strategize on what I need to improve, whether it's a structural improvement in the campaign or a prompt improvement or whatever. And it helps me analyze all of that information. And I was doing the same analysis every week. So now I have automations that have automated the automation. So it's really hilarious. That once you go down that rabbit hole, I don't know. So to answer your
It
question, I
it
don't
it
really
never
know like
it never
that there
ends,
is a
right?
limit. There's always going to be something else.
Yeah.
But it's important to understand where to draw that line. And that's different for every person and every company. But it's important to understand, like, okay, where is it more valuable to have a human touch here and just not cross that line with AI?
Yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree. And the human touch and the trust and all of that is extremely important. And I think that sales will never turn into AI to AI. At least not when the deals are over, like 5K a year, 10K a year. Like when they're that big, then for sure no. I think when they're smaller, like what used to be fully self-service, maybe now AI can be like an AI account executive that does like a little demo or something like that for those smallest users where a real salesperson would be just too expensive. So I think that's where we're going as well as a company where we're planning to release such a feature in Q4. Um, but other than that, human touch is extremely important. And I can tell you a very interesting short story that, for example, my own LinkedIn post, I started to post more as I became a founder on LinkedIn. When you do a text based, I think is so saturated because a lot of people are texting with AI now that when I started to do like a little 1 minute videos where it's for sure me there, like just talking in an extremely, simple way, those were the ones that actually got the most impressions, the most engagement, and comments and so on. So that's just an example. People start to want to have that more of a human in the loop, but that doesn't mean that if the AI if of extreme good quality and a human just isn't capable of doing that specific thing, that people would be throwing the AI off. So the consumers, they like when it's a good experience for them, and if AI delivers them a good experience, then they will take it and it will be good. That's my take on it.